Hey YouTube, Destiny here, and guess what? I've been gone for 10 years. Yes, a whole decade. Well, if you guys would like to get an update and see what I've been doing the last 10 years, keep watching. All right. So, I've honestly have been living for the last 10 years. Living my best life, or I guess that's what they say now. Just living my best life, and then also I wanted to kind of talk through 5 of my biggest mistakes that I made over the last 10 years. And then I'll make subsequent videos talking about I did have to have a subsequent bariatric surgery 2 years ago. And so I will get into that in other videos. But I do want to talk about my 5 of my biggest mistakes that kind of led to a lot of some of my bariatric pitfalls and why I wasn't as successful as I would have liked. So I wanted to just be open, transparent, and just kind of explain my experience because it's been a very long 10 years since my last surgery. I had the vertical sleeve gastrectomy in February of 2012. And then I had a conversion surgery to gastric bypass in October of 2020. So I just want to talk through those things. I have had some success. I have lost a lot of weight. I am still not at my goal weight 10 years later, but of course, life happens. The pandemic happened. And so let's just get through some of those 5 things. And I did make notes as well. One thing, I did not drink enough water. I did learn through my sleeve surgery, I did lose a lot of weight. I lost probably upwards of 120, 130 pounds. I did gain some of that back, of course, and then lost it again. So it's just been yo-yoing kind of back and forth with losing weight, gaining weight over the last 10 years. I didn't drink enough water. My doctor continuously kept telling me to eat and then drink something 30 minutes later. Like, you can take a small sip if you need it, but eating and drinking at the same time was essentially a no-no. And I didn't understand that until my second surgery. I learned everything that I should have learned 10 years ago, 2 years ago, which is a shame, but that's my reality. Another thing, I wasn't watching my calorie intake. Once I got really comfortable, I lost a lot of weight. I got extremely comfortable. Not even gonna lie to you. Like, got really comfortable to the point where self-esteem was like at 1,000, and I was like, whew, all right, well, I can slack off. I don't have to work out. I don't have to do this. I don't have to do that. That's wrong. Absolutely, like, that just wasn't even a thing. That was one of my biggest mistakes ever that I could have made. And so now I do things totally different. I'll get to that in other videos, kind of explaining what I do differently now, my success since my converting to gastric bypass, and I'll talk about my journey and everything in future videos, of course. Number 3, I would probably say should probably be number 1. And it was not realizing that having sleeve gastric bypass is a tool. It's not a fix-all. The weight wasn't going to come because I literally was in the mindset several years ago where, okay, I know if I eat under this amount, in a week, I'm going to be 10 pounds under. And then of course, over the last 10 years, I've gotten older. My body's changed. My metabolism has changed. And so things are much slower. It does not work the same anymore. Even after having gastric bypass, like being converted to gastric bypass, things were extremely slow. Like, I already went through, my body's already been shocked of having bariatric surgery, but my body doesn't do the same anymore. So I have to work out. I had to learn discipline and consistency the hard way, unfortunately. And so that number 3 is thinking bariatric surgery is a fix-it-all surgery. It's one and done. Nope. You still got to put in the work as if anybody else who just doesn't have bariatric. You still got to put in the work. It's a tool to help you get to where you got to go, but you still got to do the work. Number 4, I would say, is probably not being consistent and not exercising. I wasn't exercising enough at all. I would go on a walk here and there. I wasn't doing strength training. Now I have a lot of loose skin on my arms, on my thighs, and on my belly. I will probably have to have a surgery for loose skin once I'm finished losing weight. Or get to a point to where I'm comfortable and be like, okay, this is where I'm happy with this particular weight. And so now I'm doing that now regularly, but I wasn't back then. I would do, when I first had surgery, absolutely. Like I was working out, I think 2 and 3 times a day. Like I was overdoing it, losing a lot of weight really rapidly, and then just fell off that train. Like couldn't keep that motivation up because it was I had such unrealistic expectations and an unrealistic mindset, if that makes sense. Last but not least, this is really important. Before you even have bariatric surgery, go to therapy. I had at the time, well, I still have PCOS, but it's not as bad as it was back in the day. And so I was like, well, that's why I'm gaining weight. You know, I have PCOS, is what the doctor said. No, I had an emotional attachment to food. I'm having a bad day. I'm going to go to Chick-fil-A. I'm going to go eat pizza. I'm going to go eat ice cream. I'm not going to work out anymore. I'm not going to go to the workout today because I had a very long day at work. I'm too lazy. Instead of just saying no or just rescheduling it to another time, it was, I'm just not going to do it, period. So that was one of my hardest pitfalls, is like getting to a therapist and kind of realizing and being more cognizant of like my emotional mindset. And you'd think I'd know this because I'm a therapist, but well, I was a therapist. And you know, like I have a background in psychology, so you would think that I would, but absolutely not. But I wasn't being honest with myself, and mentally I'm there now. I'm holding myself accountable. I am being more mindful about what I'm eating, and I've learned the art of mindfulness and stopping your automatic thoughts, which that's something I can get to in other videos. But I'll get to updates in other videos, where I am, how much I weigh, all those things later in future videos. And then I also want to talk about like, what am I going to do differently in 2023 to get back on track, stay on track. And then these are some things that you guys can implement if you're struggling, or if you're thinking about bariatric surgery. Feel free to comment if there's any types of videos you'd like me to make that you want to know more about. I don't mind sharing my experience and being fully transparent with people. And I think that's something that a lot of people have asked me about bariatric surgery. Like they've seen me gain weight, lose weight since it. And now that my mindset's a lot different, a lot of people have been asking me, well, what are you doing differently? You know, what's working for you now to keep you consistent? And so these are some things that I just kind of wrote down, just some little tips to get back on track that I'm utilizing very consistently, and then you guys can use as well. So the first one is go see your bariatric surgeon. If you haven't been in a while, if you haven't seen, if you don't have a bariatric surgeon, go see your GI doctor, your PCP, whatever the case may be, and go ahead and get a blood panel. Make sure, your your blood's looking good, your iron levels, your all of your vitamins, minerals, all those are in good shape. And then make sure you're taking enough vitamins every single day. Be consistent with taking your vitamins. Those will make or break you. I even noticed if I go 2 weeks without taking my bariatric, just my vitamins, period. They're not bariatric, but my vitamins, I would feel sluggish. I wouldn't, like, my motivation wasn't as there. Like, my energy levels weren't there, obviously. But also I wasn't like, I don't know. It was just, my body was just off. And then I would be hungry. Like, I don't know. It did something with my hunger there. Excuse me. Get meds if you're deficient in anything. If you need iron pills, iron infusions, whatever the case may be, get that medication to get yourself back on track. If your doctor or somewhere locally has a support group, join it. Go to it. My surgeon has a support group. However, I don't live in Alabama anymore. I live in Washington State. So it's totally different. So my support group are Facebook groups right now. If there is a nutrition or a fitness coach, go see them. If that's what you need, is another person, or if you have a family member who can help hold you accountable, that you trust, and who isn't going to say negative things like, you paid all this money for this surgery and you're not doing what I didn't hear that, because that was my money. This is my body. It is what it is at this point. But if you have someone who's very positive in your life, go to them as well. Because you're definitely going to need some type of community to stay on track. Track your foods and see if there's a pattern. I use the Bariatric app. Sometimes I'll use MyFitnessPal. If I'm trying to, like, I'll build out my recipe in there in MyFitnessPal and kind of transfer it to Bariatric, because I don't know how to do it in that app yet. But I do utilize the Bariatric app. It gives me notifications when to take my medication, so that helps me with consistency. And it also has you can change the timestamps of when you eat foods and things like that, and track it and see how you're doing. 5, go to therapy. If you need to go to therapy, do what you got to do to get your mind right, to get that positive mindset back. And also figure out your why. Why are you trying to get back on track? Of course, to lose weight, but what else is it? Is it because you're having health problems? You have grandchildren or children, or you want to have kids? What's your why behind it? And that's going to help hold your motivation. 6, cut out fried foods and leave carbonation alone. I had to, of course, cut out fried foods very early on in my journey, because my gallbladder was removed like a couple of months after I had gastric sleeve surgery in 2012. So I think like 5 months later, somewhere around there, my gallbladder was removed. Ever since then, fried foods with high fat, can't do it. Not even going there. And 7, I would say start moving at least 20 minutes a day. I have a Peloton that I utilize. I actually bought my Peloton at the beginning of the pandemic in 2020, right before I actually had weight loss surgery. And crazy thing is, I've used it more in 2022 than I did in 2021 or 2020 when I bought it. So it's brand new, essentially. And I've been rocking the hell out of that thing. Like, I love the Peloton. I love the platform. It is expensive. So there are ways around it. Like, you can get a regular exercise bike and purchase the Peloton app and kind of utilize it that way on a regular bike, and like watch it on an iPad or something like that. It's expensive. For me, I think it's worth it. For me, it is, at least. So I get on it. It has meditation, all those things. I do meditation when I get up in the morning, while I'm laying in bed before I even get out of the bed. And I also do meditation before I go to bed. Sometimes I do meditation in the middle of the day. Like if I'm having a stressful day, I will do meditation. I love Peloton, okay? But it hurts my butt like crazy. I need a bigger seat. So I can do videos on being plus sized and the Peloton and just kind of show you guys around the Peloton. I love it. Anyway, at least 20 minutes a day. Sometimes I do yoga or I do strength training and I don't get on the Peloton, but I will, turn my screen around and just do something in the floor like strength training, bar, all of those types of things, which is great. Just move 20 minutes a day. And last but not least, enjoy your journey. Your journey is your journey. Don't look at anyone else. I made that mistake in the past, but now I look at other people's Instagram accounts, TikToks, and I'm like, oh, they're doing really well. Oh, I should be further along than them. We had surgery around the same time. Absolutely not. My journey is my journey. I don't care what anyone else is going through or what they've been through to get there, because you don't know. Everyone's pretty much, their pages are going to show you the good and they're not going to show you the struggle. Let me be the one to tell you I struggled and I have a 10-year struggle. And it's fine, but I'm not going to continue to struggle. And so it is what it is. But that's all I have for today. Thank you guys for coming back, welcoming back to YouTube. Please like, subscribe, and comment. Please let me know if there are any videos you'd like to see. And I'll check you guys out in the next one. Bye.